Good evening. Welcome to CIC. We have today a very distinguished speaker, Dr. Muthukumaraswamy. Him. For others, I think he's a leading leading expert on folklore. He is a distinguished scholar, a writer, and cultural administrator, serving as the director of the National Folklore Support Center since 1997. Previously, he worked as a consultant for the Ford Foundation and taught at St. Xavier's College, Palangote. He holds a PhD in the semiotic, is it? Okay. Semiotic analysis of Bharathakoothu, reflecting his deep engagement with folklore and performance traditions. As NFSC director, he has led major projects funded by the Ford Foundation and the Tata Trust, including oral epic documentation, visual art traditions, and indigenous community archives. He established the All India Tata Fellowships in Folklore, mentoring 30 scholars across 15 Indian universities, and directed one of India's largest folk festivals in 2000. A senior visiting professor in Germany and Ethiopia, he has lectured worldwide and presented at UNESCO events. His books include Folklore as Discourse and One Nation, Many Voices. A prolific creative writer in English and Tamil, his works span poetry, essays, and plays. His Tamil translations include poetry by Basho, Mahmood Darwish, I Pessoa, is it? Pessoa, Borges, Paul Callan, and more. In 22-23, he co-curated a Tamil Cultural Histories exhibition at the Linden Museum, Stuttgart, showcasing his expertise in folklore and heritage. It is indeed a privilege to have him, Dr. Muthukumaraswamy.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Chandramouli, Mr. Sabari, and distinguished members of this audience. Thank you very much for having me today as a speaker at the Chennai International Center. Today, my talk is going to be on Bharathakoothu, Mahābhārata Koothu, a living cultural tradition of Tamil Nadu. I hope I'll be able to manage both the PowerPoint presentation. Yes. Mahābhārata Koothu is a vibrant, large-scale festival that is happening in the northern districts of Tamil Nadu. The northern district, the tradition exists in the northwestern districts of Tamil Nadu also, Salem, Coimbatore, Krishnagiri districts as well. But then the styles are a little bit different, and then my focus will be on the northern tradition. I will show you which areas that I have worked on and what is the tradition is about. It consists of three distinctive features of the festival. The festival consists of three distinctive features. One is a set of rituals. Another is telling of Mahabharata as storytelling. The third one is that is the one that refers to as Koothu. Koothu means theatre. The theatre happens all throughout the night, nearly for a month-long period. For the first 15 days of the festival, it will be only the rituals and the storytelling. From the 16th day onwards, there will be all-night theatrical performances, which we call Koothu. This particular Koothu is Mahābhārata Koothu, so it is also known by the name Bharathakoothu. It is a post-harvest festival that happens from April, this month, up to it happens to June. Nowadays, the tradition is going on forever, and then people conduct a Mahabharata festival as up to September and October also sometimes. September, October is a rainy season, normally they avoid, but then now the seasons are changing, so they keep on doing the festival. It is Mahabharata is not the only form, only repertoire of the Kuthu tradition. No, there are many other stories that are part of Mahabharata that have come from Mahabharata, and there are also social dramas that are also part of the repertoire. That repertoire consists, and that also happening in the northern districts of Tamil Nadu. The focus here, it is conducted in the entire festival happens in the Draupadi Amman temples. Draupadi Amman temples, it is the Draupadi worship. It is the worship of Draupadi, and the entire festival is devoted to the celebration of Draupadi as a mother goddess who protects the agricultural productivity of the villagers, who helps in the fertility and everything that is associated with the agricultural produce of the communities, the village communities. So Draupadi is seen as a mother goddess. Goddess. That is also an important thing to remember. Now, the performance, the uniqueness of the performance is going to be my focus of my talk, but then I will lead you towards that. The focus is it is a participatory theater. Participatory theater in the sense the entire community participates in the making of the rituals, telling of the stories, and then they assume characters are in the episodes of Mahabharata. That is a very unique phenomenon. Richard Schechner, the famous American director and the theater director and the playwright, called this kind of a place as environmental theater, environmental or participatory theater. And then the experimental theater worldwide is advancing towards a participatory theater. Participatory theater in the sense the in the first aspect of it is there is a proscenium and there is an audience. There is a clear division here. Theater normally happens like that, but the participatory theater disregards this division, and there is no distinction between the audience and the theater. Nowadays, if you're going for modern theatrical experimental theater, you will see characters coming from the audience, interacting with the directors and the actor, and all that is taking place. That kind of newness or the innovation that is taking place in the innovative theater of worldwide is already happening here in our traditional theater. So there is a large number of engagements from the theater field. I'm also a theater director and a playwright. So that is one of my reasons for going to study Koothu, Mahābhārata Koothu, is not necessarily for my PhD, but also to draw inspiration from it, creative inspiration, and then to use those techniques in my theater and also playwriting. That is one of my key uh, interests in the theater, in this Bharata Koothu. So we will be talking about it as what is the collective rituals, and then this festival culminates in firewalking. From firewalking for Draupadi, because as you know, in Mahabharata, she was not born in the normal way. Draupadi is born from fire. Born from fire, she is a daughter of the fire. And then she is also a personification and the manifestation of Mahakali, who brought in the great destruction of Kurukshetra. So she is also worshipped as Mahakali and also the person who protects, and also who punishes. The entire festival, whether it is storytelling or the theatrical events, they are all addressed to Draupadi. This is also one of the characteristics of Indian epic traditions. In the Ramayana, for instance, Ramayana is told. Who is telling the Ramayana? Lava and Kusha tell the story of Rama to Rama himself. Similarly, here in this Mahabharata Koothu, the entire narration, the performances, storytelling, ritual, all are addressing to Draupadi. What happens if I were to tell your story to you as a theatrical event? Can I afford to make a mistake? If I were to make a mistake in telling that, you will immediately correct me, So, Draupadi, to address to because it is always, they say, Kelai Draupadi, Kelai Draupadi, and then they will start uh, telling the story or performing the Kuthu. Because Draupadi is the listener, because Draupadi is the audience. The audience members also are equated with the Draupadi. Each one of you who are attending the Kuthu, either the narration or by looking at the performance, also becomes a Draupadi. So that is why it culminates in firewalking, the entire festival. The logic of the festival culminating in firewalking is because you cross fire. When you cross fire, the Indian tradition will tell you that you cross your own death, you become reborn, you also go to the other world, and then you become continuously renewed, renewed, and you rejuvenated. That is also the part of the festival's belief. Now, what you see on the left hand side is the map of Tamil Nadu, and the dots that you see, the concentrated black dots, are all the Draupadi Amman temples. It was a survey done not by me, but by Professor Alf Hiltbaita, who did the pioneering study and then wrote 4 volumes on Bharathakoothu, which is called the Draupadi Cult. 1, 2, 3, 4 volumes, and then it was his survey that shows nearly how many temples, the concentration of temples in the northern districts of Tamil Nadu. If I were to see the other side of it, you will see that there are totally 408 temples all over Tamil Nadu. The concentration is mostly in the central area, which is the South Arcot district, North Arcot district. But my research is within the Kanyakumari, I mean, Kanchipuram district. Kanyakumari is my native district, so every time I make this slip of the tongue. The Kanchipuram district, there is a 51 temples that I have listed there, or the ones that I researched, documented, and wrote about. The core area, as you can see, there is nothing. There are very hardly 3 or 4 temples in the southern Tamil Nadu. So you don't see any of it. Uh, as a child growing up in the southern districts of Tamil Nadu, I did not have a chance to see Bharathakoothu at all. In fact, only when I was 23, 21, or 18, 18 that I first saw Kuthu. The internal sanctum of the temple. The sanctum of the temples have variations because, see, these are not classical South Indian temples. These are folk temples, and then they are slowly getting Sanskritized, and then bringing in the Brahmin priests, and then bringing in and the rituals of the bigger temples. So there is a variety of things. Variety of temples are known as the Draupadi Amman temples. A typical temple would look like this. There is a prominent Draupadi Amman statue in the middle, and then the Panchapandavas are distributed there in the statue. This is a fairly old temple, but then if you were to see the other slide, that you will see there is only a slab of granite slab which is worshipped as Panchapandavas and Draupadi. That is by looking at these two, one would be able to tell the age of the temple. That is the older temple. Older temple. This is a quietly recent one compared to that one. But then they are all must be something like 100 years old. The next, now they also have Panchaloka statues within the sanctum. The sanctum, as you can see, there is a figure here, a warrior's figure. That warrior figure is known as the Potharaja. Potharaja is the local ruler of the Tondemandalam region. It used to be called Tondemandalam. The northern districts of Tamil Nadu used to be called Tondemandalam region. The Tondemandalam region, he was one of the other kings, local kings. So, performing Mahabharata is not only about Mahabharata, it is also about performing their own stories, their own histories. The northern region of Tamil Nadu, from the 6th century onwards, has been subjected to contacts with the North India and also the invasions into the Tamil Nadu. There have been lot of wars and internal battles happening here. So there is no wonder that Mahabharata, being a war epic, and then the battle between the brethren attracted them, and then they started performing Mahabharata here in the northern districts. That does not mean that southern districts of Tamil Nadu do not have wars between the kings. No, we do have them, but we do not have these many wars and the invasions like the northern districts of Tamil Nadu. Now, if you come out of the sanctum, the outside temple, this is the outside, there is a shed. This is where the storytelling, the Bharata Prasangam, takes place. The Bharata Prasangam takes place in this, you don't see here, but then the two people, one woman and a man sitting there, they are the Prasangis. They narrate the Mahabharata to the audience. So you see them clearly here. That I will talk about who are the Mahabharata storytellers in a short while. But then this is how the audience look like. So this is the outside the temple. From the sanctum to the outside, you have these storytelling sessions taking place. When you go out of the temple, nearby, there is a huge ground that consists of two important people. One is the statue that you see. That statue is Aravan. Aravan is a witness to Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra. In the Sanskrit Mahabharata, there is a very little, only a small little mention of Aravan. Aravan is born out of a wedlock between Arjuna and Ulupi, a Naga princess. Sanskrit Mahabharata mentions it only one small sentence in a stanza. That's it. But then in Tamil Nadu, we expanded it. The storytellers expanded it, the Araman story, to a big oral epic that is Aravan uh, Arpudamalai, which is there is a but the Aravan Arpudamalai into a big ballad. So Aravan story is peculiar to and also unique to Tamil Nadu. So Aravan, it is also important to know, Aravan is a war sacrifice. Before Kurukshetra war, to win the war, you have to give a sacrifice. So, to give a sacrifice, they have to choose a person who should willingly come forward to be a sacrifice, to be beheaded before the war. Number one condition. Number two condition, he should be a brahmachari, and then he should have 32 Angalakshana Shastra, 32 features features that will make him a full male. At the time of Mahabharata, only three male characters were full males. One was Krishna, obviously. Krishna cannot be a war sacrifice. Then there cannot be any world or a Mahabharata happening. The second one is Arjuna. Arjuna cannot be also a war sacrifice. The third one is Aravan. See, one of the features mentioned after the 32 features is your hand should be below the male sacrifice, below the knee. That long it should be. Because then only you can play with the arrow and the bow very easily, and then you can become a warrior. Luckily, whether I was born in the Mahabharata time or now, I cannot be a war sacrifice. Thank God. So he should be a willingly coming forward to become become a sacrifice. He should be a bachelor, brahmachari. He should not have known a woman, known in the biblical sense of the term. A third, he should be sacrificed. He should be willingly, he should cut himself and die, sacrifice. So Aravan is convinced by Arjuna, Bhima, and Krishna, then be made into it. And then Aravan asks for three boons. One boon is that I'm a warrior. There is a huge battle going to take place. If I become a war sacrifice before the war, what is the use of me living? So even after my killing, I should be able to witness Kurukshetra. Krishna, being Krishna, he grants him the boon. So he is there in as a witness, looking at the happening of a Kurukshetra war. That is one. The second thing is, he says, see, it's all right to be a brahmachari, but then I want to know a woman before dying. Then Krishna, again being a Krishna, he becomes a Mohini and spends the night with him. This story I tell you elaborately because in this we will see eventually that the Mahabharata festival has also become one of the places for transgender worship. Why it is happening? Why this Arvan has become the central god for the transgender people all over India? For that, I give you these leads. So what happens is, after uh, Krishna spending a day, a night with Aravan. Aravan's head, only the thing that is normally presented. That is from Goa, where there is a dedicated dedicated temple for Kuthandavan. He is also considered to be the god of Koothu. The theatre god is not Krishna, not Draupadi, but Aravan, the Aravan statue. The other long lying figure that you see, colorful figure, is that of Duryodhana. Duryodhana is a mud statue the villagers make during the festival, and then they destroy it at the time of Kurukshetra, when the enactment of a Kurukshetra takes place. This is one of the participatory ways the theatre is done, and then they destroy this construction. They take full effort, a lot of labor go into making this statue, which is to be to be destroyed on the enactment of a Kurukshetra. That is also showing. So Kurukshetra is near the Kurukshetra field is near the Draupadi Amman temple, and Duryodhana lying there is in front of Draupadi. Draupadi is constantly watching him. You did that to me, and then now you are lying down in front of me. That is what the villagers believe in. The outside, the nearby. These are all the Draupadi Amman temples are in most of the villages are located at the edges of the temple, at the edges of the villages where there are also paddy fields. The paddy fields will have the theater, Koothu. Koothu happens here. This is a kind of a stage, and then which is a thatched stage typically, and then the people gather there. This is how the actors look when they are fully dressed up. We will talk about the Koothu's makeup scheme, Koothu's what is the mode of acting, theatrical medium of acting in Koothu, all that in a while. Before that, I want you to look at this. I don't know if you can see the entire festival, but then how the villagers perceive this festival to be. They perceive this to be as Thimadi Mahotsava Pati. For them, this is a firewalking festival. What is the culmination of the festival is the one they consider as the, this is a Takolam, one of the places that, one of the 51 villages that I documented and researched on. Takolam and Tusi are the photographs that I am showing you. So the people call themselves look at here, Samayam Ganachari Kumaravarkam. It is the invitation is printed in the name of Samayam Jnanachari Kumaravarkam. The meaning, Kumara means sons, and Jnanavargam, Jnanachari means wise, wise acharyas of the and they are Kumaravargam. Kumaravargam, children. They are children of Draupadi. They consider themselves, the organizers consider themselves as children of Draupadi, and because they are the children of Draupadi, they are also wise. This is one important thing to know about how the participatory events in the festival take place, because they consider themselves as children of Draupadi and they are also wise. And the important thing is the fireworking festival, the culmination leading to the month-long events leading to the firework. Those people, villagers who are the organizers of the festival, have to have ritual observances and sleep in the Draupadi Amman temple for the entire period of the festival. They also carry, you see, there is a small weapon like structure that is also called Draupadi's weapon. They carry the Draupadi's weapon every day and throughout as a procession in the morning rituals in the village, and then they worship that as the incarnation of Draupadi, and then they bring it back to the temple. They also go to the borders of the village to establish their borders sanctity by worshipping Draupadi and also worshipping Ellai Kali. Ellai Kali is also worshipped. The border Kali Mata is also worshipped during the festival, during these morning processions. Now, about the storytellers. The storytellers are they are a dwindling tribe now. There are only 50 or 70. They are the Mahabharata storytellers. The one who see there, organized there as well. But the women are very rare. There is only one person that I could see among the 50 of the storytellers. They are called Bharata Prasangis. Bharata Prasangis tell the stories every day in the afternoon. Sometimes they also go into the field where Koothu is taking place and tell the story. Where, along with the enactment of Koothu, they also tell the story. They are very extraordinary scholars of Mahabharata. The A.K. Selvadurai, the blue shirted man that you see on the top of the top photograph, he was one of the most virtuous, most improvised speaker on Mahabharata. The Mahabharata storytelling takes place with the two aspects. One is a fixed form. There you cannot make any changes at all. Then there is another form. Then there is an improvisation. When they improvise, see, if they were to talk about Gandhari and Draupadi's relationship, they will talk about mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship, and then they will relate it to those movies, the Vadivelu jokes, and all that. That kind of improvisation can take place. But there is also a fixed form which cannot be changed at all. For that, they keep the book. As you can see, here is a book that is there in front of them. That book is a Billy Bharadam. Villiputtura wrote the Mahabharata in the 15th century. The scholars date Villiputura's Bharadam into the 15th century. It is a very concise Mahabharata. Before that, there were several Mahabharatas written in Tamil. Bharadam Badiya Devarar, there is one person, but then his Mahabharata is lost to the time. We do not know where the manuscript is. But the 15th century Mahabharata has, it has the very good oral formulae. Oral formulae in the sense it uses the meters in such a way that it is very the word's integrity cannot be tampered with. For instance, when you are singing, for instance, A.R. Rahman's song, Ithai, Manne, Vanakkam. That, see, Thai, Manne, Vanakkam. But then the pronunciation and the singing, you can take any liberties. See, similarly, Carnatic music, singing also, they can take any liberties, and then they can extend the word Rama, and then you can go on singing Rama. But then, when it comes to Oduvar singing in the Shiva temple, Oduvar singing, the Tevaram Tiruvasagam, the meter cannot be tampered with. The integrity of the word, Kunitha Purvamum, you can say, you cannot extend the word. The integrity of the word needs to be preserved. The integrity of the word, preserving the integrity of the word, is a sign of that religiosity of the context. You can take any liberties, means it is an entertainment, not it is not a context where religiosity is expected. But when they bring in the Villi Bharatam as a text, they sing with the integrity of the meters of Villiputura. They convey that this is a religious uh, expression. What is happening? It is a religious event. So the Villiputuras, why Villiputura means it is also written in such a way the meters preserve the integrity of the word. So what happens for the there are two texts operating in the Kuthu situation, Kuthu context. While the storytellers use this Villiputurar Bharadam, the other one for the Kuthu performances, what they use is called Nallapillai Bharadam. Professor Srinivasan of Presidency College has published the Nallapillai Bharadam, collected it and then published it. That if Villiputura Bharadam condenses the Mahabharata into some 200 pages or something like that, uh, Nallapillai Bharadam expands the Mahabharata into something like 80,000 words. So, Sanskrit Mahabharata is what we call the Ur form, the original Mahabharata that is expanded multiple times, many times to perform it as Kuthu. That one version of it is called, attributed to the authorship of a person called Nalla Pillai. So that is the Nalla Pillai Bharat. This is the Villiputtura Bharat. Kuthu is makeup. Kuthu has a makeup scheme which it shares with other traditional South Indian performing arts traditions of South India, the entire South India. Kathakali in Kerala, Yakshagana in Karnataka, Ugukada in Andhra Pradesh. The entire performative complex shares this makeup scheme. For usually there is a rose makeup applied. The makeup is not done by another makeup artist, but the actor who plays the Kuthu, who plays the role, he himself is to draw his face. The rose is the base, and then there is a collective place where the kind of a green room behind the thatched roof Kuthu stage. And the person who is in the ordinary stage is the Katyangaran. Katyangaran is the one who narrates the story, who ushers in the characters onto the stage, interact with the characters and also the audience to make what is happening on the stage accessible and communicative to the people. The Katyangaran is the only person who will be, he is also referred to as buffoon, and he wears only a colorful pant and a colorful shirt. That's all. The Katyangaran character shares again, Katyangaran is also known as Vidushaka in the Sanskrit theatre, and then all the South Indian performing arts traditions have a Vidushaka. It is also part of the classical Sanskrit theatre also. If you go to see Kudiyattam in the Vadakannathan temple of Kerala, you will see the first thing that you will see is the Vidushaka coming in and then narrating the theatre. Here, the Kuthus Idiom of acting. Idiom of acting consists of rolling of the eyes and rotating the eyes, and then rapidly rotating, which is called kirki, and coming onto the stage with a violence, and then coming onto the bench behind where the acting is taking place, and then hitting the table with a violent sword in their hand, usually a wooden sword, and then presenting themselves. So this kirki is one kind of adavu. That rapid rotation is called kirki. But there are several adavus, several footsteps, intricate footsteps that are important for an actor to learn to be a Koothu actor. It depends on the character that you play and also how the scene demands the adavu. So the adavu is designed by the Koothu Vatyar, the one who trains the group to act, and it is basically based on the character and also the situation. To facilitate the rotation of the eyes and for the audience to see the rapid eye movement, so there is a the makeup aids that, the facial makeup aids that. So there is a uh, shading of the eyes, and also the on the ridges of the nose that you have that black spot, and also sometimes you have the dotted lines running through. That is a way of interpreting the character too. For instance, if there is a green facial makeup, the audience will understand at particular scene of Kuthu that character is a valiant and good. If it is red, then the audience would interpret that that character is violent but bad. So Karna in Karna Moksham will be having a green makeup, not a red makeup. In all other scenes, that he will be having a red makeup. So according to the one of the what exactly is the situation, what exactly is the character, the actors interpret through the makeup. So the makeup will take place at least 5 or 6 hours. In theatrical terms, that is the way an actor gets into the character when you are drawing it slowly for 5 years. After 5 hours of drawing this makeup and putting the other costumes like this skirt, a skirt and all that wooden skirt and the ornamentation, the big crowns that you see also have an interpretative schema behind it. That wooden shoulders, the wooden shoulder ornaments are called kattai. Kattai vesham. Kattai vesham means it is an important way, important character. And then if it is the greedom, the crowns, if they are elaborate, they are the kings. If they are off crowns, like you see, they are shikarek. They are called shikarek. They are or princes. So Arjuna normally comes in shikarek, Dharma, Duryodhana, all of them have a full-fledged crown. Then once you, after 4 hours of getting into the character, you don't enter into the stage immediately. You stand behind a handheld curtain and then sing for hours. While singing, see, I am, let us say, Duchadana. I am Duchadana coming onto the stage. What I will do is, as a character, after getting into the character for 4 hours, doing that makeup and wearing that costume, I'll stay behind the curtain singing in the third person. I am Duchadana, but I will be singing, oh, here comes Duchadana, see Duchadana, see Duchadana, the third person. Only when the curtain is removed, I will have to sing, oh, here I come, Duchadana, Duchadana. This entire world is shaking because of my one footstep. And then so you begin to sing and then rotate rapidly, go around the stage, hit the uh, hit the bench where the background singers are sitting there and singing along with you, and then stay, pout your tongue, roll your eyes. So that is a very powerful impression. But then immediately the Katyangaran, the, the clown, will ask him, after all this introduction of nearly singing for 40, 50 minutes of third person singing, first person entry, then hitting, rolling of the eyes, spouting of the tongue, everything is done. The Katyangaran will ask him, who are you? Then, oh, you don't know me? Then he will go around, and then the interaction has been subject of many theatrical directors' analysis. Why is it? What is this theatrical devices are doing? The theatrical devices are doing in such a way. See, for instance, what happens in the Aristotelian theory of theater is Aristotelian theater. The Greek tragedies took place in the Greek towns where there were only Greek cities where there were only two classes. One rulers, the rest of them were slaves. The Greek tragedies were meant for the slaves. The slaves would identify with the tragic hero, and then go through all the emotions, the five-part Aristotelian theory, and when they happens, the denouement happens, they are completely out of all emotions with the identified character on stage and come back and then become a slave again. So the Aristotle wrote his poetics for the city state to preserve its polity, which consists of masters and slaves. This, many people, many theatre directors in the West wanted to break, like Bertolt Brecht, for instance. So he said there is an identification of the character taking place between the audience member and the character on stage, which I want to reduce this emotional identification. Then I want an intellectual engagement to take place. So he broke the story in such a way that there is no identification taking place. In Koothu, that is already taken place. The Koothu's way of acting, that is, you have all these kind of a grandeur on stage, but then the identification is not taking place because of the interactions of the Kattingaran. There is the identification with the character is constantly broken, and the actor is forced to go into the character again and again because the Katyangaran keeps denying, who are you? Then he is asking, oh, I don't think that Dushadana is a great king. He will make a comment. Then again he will have to say, who I am? I am this man. Then he will say, oh, he is telling cock and bull story to you. Then he will have to identify himself and then tell the story. That means for the audience, it is breaking the identification with the character, but for the actor, he is climbing it again and again from 4 hours of makeup, singing behind the screen, coming onto the stage and climbing the character, then climbing again and again. This leads to possession. Many of the actors go into possession, a trance state, when they perform something like Draupadi Vastravaranam. We will come to that. Then the participatory nature of the theatre again. In Mahabharata, Arjuna went on to do a tapas, penance, to get the Pashupata Astra, the worst nuclear weapon of that time. And then he climbed onto the Himalayas and then did prayers to Shiva and got the Pashupata. That is enacted in this way, where he is climbing a huge pole. And that is one of the things. And then when he reaches the top of the pole, which is the top of the Himalayas, he will throw flowers from there and the lemons, and then people think this is one of the fertility rituals, where people think that getting these flowers and the lemons would beget them children, and then it will bless fertility of the land itself. So it is enacted not on the stage, as you can see, it is already coming out onto the public spaces in the village. So the theater is slowly breaking. It is not a stage and the audience, but it is going elsewhere and then becoming a live event. The other one you see is the other things that you see is from the two photographs are from Karnamoksam performances. In the Karnamoksam performances, people people think Karnamoksam perform. There is a lot of belief system associated with theatrical performances of Kuthu Mahabharata. One of the thing is Karnamoksam is performed whenever there is a uh, death, the 16th day funeral celebrations, they organize a Karnamoksam. People think that if they organize Karnamoksam, they will go to the heaven and then they will also get, just before the Karna's death, he also saw Krishna as the Vishwarupa Darshan, no Vishwarupa Darshan. So they think that they will also get this, the Vishwarupa Darshan, if they organize Karnamoksam. This is the Draupadi Vastrabharanam scene that I talked about. So here is a Dukshadana bringing this Draupadi's sari, and then you can see somewhere there Krishna giving the sari. Then there is this is typically the performance. Most of the time, the Kuthu actor who plays Dukshadana gets into the trance, and the performance itself is stopped. Many women in the audience also get into the possession, and I tend to think that is the aim of this performance. The aim of the performance is to remember the dishonor done to Draupadi. And then once that happens, everybody, the possession happens, the entire performance comes to a standstill, and the actors who play Dushadana ask for the forgiveness of Draupadi, the goddess, and then they resume. We all doing it for our own to earn our bread, daily bread. No, nothing personal about it. So please forgive us. Then the performance will resume. But the possession, the trance, as the goal of the performance is also taking place in Kutu. Then again, the participatory rituals. See here, this is a lacquer. There is a lacquer palace where Duryodhana tricked the Pandavas to come in, and then he fired them, and then Krishna, with Krishna's advice, they exchanged five other people, and they died in the lacquer place. That is performed the outside the stage. They burn actually a lacquer palace in a thatched house, a palace, and then they connect it. And that is a Bahashravadam. The Pandavas are living incognito in the Bharatadesha. And then at the time, they were living with the old woman who has only one son. The Bahashra was threatening the village, and it was the turn of the uh, old lady's son to go as a sacrifice to the Bahashara. But Kunti says, I have five children, you take him, this Bhima fellow, and then he can be the sacrifice. He goes and then kills Bahashara. Enactment of that episode here takes place throughout the entire village. And you can see on the tractor, there is a person who is garlanded. He is the Bhima. The tractor goes around the village, and then people all contribute all that, whatever they have, rice or everything, they contribute to the Bhima. So it is, you don't no longer know whether you are there for listening to a story, or you are participating in a mythical event, or you are there in the Mahabharata time. You don't really know, because everything, you become a character of the events taking place. Further, more still, here, this is the marriage of Draupadi and Arjuna. During the marriage of Draupadi and Arjuna taking place, the villages, one set of villages become the groom's side. The other side becomes the bride's side. And there are actually, they bring in these gifts, no, Sirvarisai. They bring in the Sirvarisai from the women's side, actually. And then it is like a real wedding taking place. During that time, many people also you see the Sirvarisai, and many elderly couple also celebrate their 60th birthday during that time, and they bring in the icons of Krishna and Rukmini to make it a very sanctified ritual too. So there is a complete blurring of the events that is taking place. There is no theater, there is no uh, actual storytelling, but then you are all citizens uh, of Duryodhana's Raj, because it is still Duryodhana's Raj. But in Kuthu, again, the Kuthu, this is the Duryodhana that you see. In one of these places, one of the villages, which is a unique phenomenon, not always, along with the Duryodhana in the middle, they also have Salyan, the charioteer of Gaurava's army, and also Shagini, the three statues. In Takolam and Tumsi, or the two villages, they have it. The rest of the villages, only Duryodhana will be there. And the Duryodhana statues like that, huge, as you can see, the hundreds and hundreds of people, villagers gathering there. And then when Bhima calls for the Arjuna's advice, when the Duryodhana Bhima is going to kill Duryodhana by hitting below the belt, hitting at the thighs and killing him, the entire crowd will jump onto the Duryodhana statue, stamp on it, and then destroy it. And they have built those beautiful statues. They are beautiful statues all throughout these festival, 15, 20 days, and spending so much of money, energy, and all that. They will destroy it within hours. Within 15, 20 minutes, Duryodhana will be destroyed. And the most important thing happens afterwards. The head of the village village has to do the funeral rites for Duryodhana. In the Kuthu's perception, our rulers are always Duryodhanas. There is no dharma there. Once the dharma is coronated, everything comes to a standstill. Again, we play from the Mahabharata from the beginning, and for Duryodhana is our Raja, our king. So the funeral rites are done in actual terms. Like, see, he has shaved his head, and then he is doing all these things, and then the bones and everything. So it is completely, uh, people are amazed at what is happening here. But then I was also, when I was doing research, see, imagine, as a folklorist, I have to document the entire Mahabharata. So afternoon storytelling, I will be recording in tape recorder and videographs, and then the night long, throughout the night, I have to take notes. Then I will be doing it for 15, 20, 15, 16 days. Morning, see, 7 nights, 6 nights. If you wake up continuously, what happens to you in the morning? You are in a delirium, and at that delirium, the villagers kindly offer you a pot of palm toddy. Who can refuse it? So I will also have it. Once you have the palm toddy in the morning, and then attend all these festivals, sleep till the afternoon for the storytelling, then listen to the storytelling, and then record. Palm toddy is really good, I tell you. And then after 15 days, so when you are completely in another world. It's like these villages. And at that time, if you would wake me up in the middle of the night and then ask me to tell the 100 names of the Kauravas, I will rattle it out. So it has gone into my subconscious like that. That is what is happening to all the villages also. It has gone into their subconscious mind because of the waking up all throughout the night, and then participating in the rituals, the acting, and storytelling. I will, will come to the, don't worry, I'll finish it within 7:15. That the villagers also go into the fire walking, the final, after the Kurukshetra enactment of the Kurukshetra war, the fire walking. The fire walking pit has undergone many changes. The villages that I studied, it is a 3 feet uh, long, and then coal ambers, and then spread to 15 feet or so that you have to walk through. And in some other places, it is very thin. But then the fire pit, being a fire pit, is prone to accidents. It has been there because not the fire walkers have met with any accidents. That I have I have been engaged with this tradition from 1985 onwards. So I can tell you there is not a one single person whose feet is hurt because he walked on the fire. No. But then accidents happen because there were no protections and the crowd will be throbbing around the fire pit. People would push each other, and some people accidentally fell into the fire pit and they got hurt. So there is a history of accidents to this. So the district administration has imposed many uh, restrictions on how to do the firewalking. Despite that, it is a very dangerous situation. Now they have fences. Many villages have fences. Many villages have control of the audience for watching the firewalking rather than doing the firewalking. The firewalking, this man I followed when his name is Dhanapal. He was working in Takolam. Takolam, he's a rationalist belonging to the Dravidian movement, and then he became the village panchayat president after the demise of his father. Then he had to do the organizing this Draupadi Amman festival, firewalking festival. And as the Panchayat president, he is the first person to walk on the fire. And then, see, it is also not walking on the fire. Others can run. But then the chief organizer of the firewalking festival, he has to walk slowly on the burning coals. And he has to carry a ball of jasmine in his hand. And in the middle of the pit, he is required to throw it on the fire, burning amber, and slowly pick it up and then walk again. So that is required. Dhanapal, the morning of the fireworking, I was with him. And then I was walking, slowly going through. He was going in his moped. He was sweating all over. He does not know what to do. And then he cannot say anything. Then he was in a frenzy. He said, I would run. But no, he cannot run. He has to slowly walk, being the leader. He was pushed into the front. Then I was on the other side, waiting for my dear friend Dhanapal to walk across the fire pit. It's a 3 feet burning amber, and then 15 feet long. Dhanapal walked slowly, put this jasmine ball on the fire, picked it up, walked again, and came. On the other end, I received him, then took him. Then he didn't feel anything. The jasmine did not burn at all. He said, I, I asked him, how will you rationally explain this? He said, I don't know. Still, I also don't know. So that is what is a firewalking story for you. Then the last thing is the Kuvagam festival. Kuvagam, the Kuthandavar is celebrated in a big way. He comes on the Chitra Purnami, the coming Chitra Purnami. If you go to Kuvagam village, you will see this festival. People get married. The Aravanis, the transgender people, Aravanis, they are called now. Now they are also called in, so we wanted to call them with respectable terms. So we have coined Tirunangai and Tirunambi in Tamil. So the transgender people gather all over, and then they become Arawan's wives. Arawan's wives, in the sense, they get married on the day of his. And then, after he becoming a war sacrifice, they become widows of Arawan. And as widows of Paravan, they go back to the world. That is what their belief is. This small temple in Kuvagam Kuthandavar temple became so famous because of the gathering of the Aravanis, and it has become a center of activism for Aravani activism that includes lesbian, gay, and all other sexual uh, people with a different sexual orientation, and then it has become a center of activism now. So as you can see, they become the widows and then cry. In the Viluppuram has become the center of the activities. As you can see, there are many beauty pageants, many art events, dances, and all that is taking place in Kuvagam. So Mahabharata, many people would say we are very advanced nation. So we have recognized the transgender people as part of our community. We don't discriminate against them. But then we also introduced Article 371 in the Indian Constitution that bans these people with the other orientation, which the activists are still fighting for to take away. With that, I conclude my presentations on Mahābhārata Koothu.
Throughout his life, he plays Dushasana.
Not necessarily, not at all, not at all. He can play any character, but then some actors become very famous with some of the characters, and then they stick to the character. For instance, recently, Kalai Padma Shri is awarded to Sambandhan of Purusai Kannapathampuran group. He plays Dushadana character very well. Then there is one Munisami who passed away from the same group. He played Karna very well. So these some people are associated with certain characters, but then they play different characters all the time. Sometimes you see there are 40 professional troops, to my knowledge, that are doing Kuthu. But then Kuthu is also done by semi-professionals in the sense they are not professional groups, but then they are many people who just for the sake of playing Kuthu, they become Kuthu actors for a while and then do a play and then forget about it. Then villagers also play. So among the 40 professional troops, some people become stars playing some characters and they continue to stick to it, but then they also fall sick, they cannot also play sometimes, then other actors step in and take their roles.
Hello. Yeah. So no question, but I thank you for one thing that when I was living in Singapore, in the Mariamman temple, there is one Aravan statue.
Yes.
It's about 5-6 feet. No, இதுவரைக்கும் நான் எதுக்குன்னே தெரியல. எப்பவும் போனா நமஸ்காரம் பண்ணிட்டு வருவோம். But there is also a Draupadi Amman statue there. So that also we worship. So I never understood இன்னைக்கு கேட்டதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் தெரிஞ்சு. So I thought I'll thank you for that.
Oh, thank you so much. Actually, I visited that Mariamman temple in Singapore and then I took a photograph of that Aravan statue, big one, very big one. The iconography is shared across the South Asia. The Aravan statue. Yes, you're right.
I'm Dakshini and I'm a visual artist. Your explanation was very beautiful, sir. I want to ask you in Chennai, are there any places where the traditional terracotta artists perform? Because I've only seen them in festivals, but I am very interested in terracotta, tolpave kuthu, and all of that. I do paintings inspired by it.
Oh, yes, I'm by Chennai as well. There are some 10 Draupadi Amman temples in Chennai. Chennai, and then they do organize the Mahabharata festival, Mahābhārata Koothu, also very similarly. But you see, Chennai, the city, is also a collection of villages, right? They were all villages before, and then the growing city gobbled up all these villages into, and then now we have a huge city. But the instance of holding a full-fledged Mahabharata Koothu is a little less in the city, more in the villages of South Arcad, North Arcad. And simultaneously, if you go to North Arcad villages, there will be something like 40 villages simultaneously celebrating Koothu.
What is Northarkad village, sir? Northarkad village, you said?
North Arcad and South Arcad villages, Vandavasi, Senchi, Kanchipuram, Velur, Thiruvannamalai.
And also one more question, sir. Just yesterday, I watched a Terikuthu performance by a female performer called Tilagavati.
Yes.
And also, I met Usha Rani, who's a theatre artist, and she's also performed Terikuthu of that play Paniti. It's a scene from, it's about Shikandi. I wonder, like, in traditionally, were women allowed to perform, or is it something that is new?
It is something new. But traditionally, the men would don the characters of females also. The Draupadi and other characters were also done by men only. But recently, they have been trained by Katekuttu Sangam in Kanchipuram, run by Rajagopal and Anna M.D. Bruin, a Dutch scholar, that they have trained the women to perform Kuthu. Tilagavati has been recently been awarded the Hindu Award for one of the distinguished women who is pioneering these things. And so it is obviously it is a very new thing that is happening in the last 10 years or so.
One short question. Yeah. So one short question. I was intrigued by the similarity with Kathakali. Do they also follow the same classical mudras and as in Kathakali?
The raga, yes, I did not speak about the musical instruments and the ragas here. The musical instruments are mridangam and harmonium and one small wind instrument called muhavine. Muhavine makes a very shrill sound. So this is the musical ensemble and also the cymbals, of course, sitting behind them. The ragas are named very much similar to the Carnatic raga. Some Punnagavarali will be there. Punnagavarali, they will say Punnagavarali, this is Mukhari, but then they will be totally different. The names are similar, the musical names or ragas names are similar in Koothu, but then their rendering is because it is an open audience, there is no mic and other thing. They have to sing at the Elrakata so that you can reach the audience at the end of the village, and then so the singing pattern is totally different. If you're when Karna dies, there is a Muhari being sung. Yes, Muhari is there. Then the Bhubalam is also very much the Koothu Vatyas, and then identify the ragas by the same name. But then you won't recognize them if you know the other Mugari or the other ragas.
Flow.
Duryodhana, Salya, and Shakuni.
Shakuni. One was, I saw one was red, one was blue. Actually, Salyan was blue, which means he's not a bad person. Isn't that?
No. But the interpretation of the facial makeup does not apply here.
Oh, okay. So the blue also doesn't. Do they do blue on the face when they perform?
Blue is I asked the villagers what is the significance of it, but then I got different responses. One, they said it is to depict the poisonous nature of the person.
So blue and red is considered villainous or bad characters.
Blue and black.
And green is the only good thing. I mean, good person.
Green and rose is neutral. If they have the new rose, then there is he is neither good nor bad.
Katyakaran
And some of the characters also. Just the the characters on the scene, they need not have any interpretation at all. See,
And that
sometimes.
brings me to the next part of the question. The makeup they use those days it used to be natural materials, right? That doesn't
Yes.
harm the skin because they're wearing it for so many hours. But nowadays,
Nowadays they use
because of the light and everything that flashes, I mean, that's focused on them, it might be something that has to be stuck to the skin and not wear off easily. So, is it chemical based these days, or
chemical based only
so
now.
does it affect their skin, or
Of course, it must.
Okay, and with the makeup thing, is there anything like people learn that also, or they just
They should learn it. They should learn
they
it.
acquire it from
They
the
learn it, but then there is no makeup man doing it.
they do
You have to
themselves.
do it yourself.
Oh, so they are artists themselves
Yeah,
also.
you have to do it,
And
and then it is a way of getting into the character.
And just one last thing about the person. No, just a little thing. When this person offers himself, you said he wanted to see a woman, so Krishna went in that form. But doesn't that disqualify him to become a sacrifice?
Because Krishna is a male, no? So that is why the Aravanis, the transgender people, associate themselves with the Aravan story.
Do you
Sir, hi sir, good evening. I am from Shishore MR School, studying in 12th grade. My name is Javashni. I really like your presentation today and learned really many new stuff today. My question for you is that all those years ago, villages had caste systems, right? So, given that the performance traditionally took place in rural settings and often was associated with certain caste communities, is Mahabharatam Koothu still influenced by caste hierarchies?
Very much. I'm glad that you asked the question. These villages are dominated by the caste of 1 years. 1 years, so the 1 year caste mostly do that. 1 years and the upper middle in the caste hierarchy caste, they are the ones who play. Dalits are excluded from these most of the performances till recently. Now the Dalit villages also perform their own Kuthu, but then so it is very much uh, uh, associated with the what people, for want of better terms, describe as middle caste. Middle caste, middle non Hindu, non Brahmin middle caste. They are the ones. They identify themselves as warrior caste. Warrior caste. And they are most of these local mythologies. I also refer to Potharaja. Potharaja, who is a local king. They consider themselves as warriors, and then so Kshatriya in the Nalvarna system. So they want to perform the Mahabharata to to exhibit their bravery and their heritage.
Thank you, sir.
So is there a connection between Pidari and Kottravai to Draupadi Amman?
No, Pidari and Kottravai, but Kali is very much. She is according to the Mahabharata, she is a sister of Krishna. So she is a double of Krishna. As a double, she is Kali. You can see many of the temples in the Karnataka, southern Karnataka, before Kollur Muhambe temple, that Krishna and Kali are there in the temples themselves. So Kali, by Krishna and Kali brought about the great destruction of the Kurukshetra war. So in the when the Kurukshetra is enacted, a statue, the icon of Kali is brought to the ground where the Kurukshetra is enacted, so that she can also see that along with the Raman.
Good evening, sir. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I came late. So if I answer this, maybe you can repeat it. My question is basically that it almost seems like such an elaborate practice and a festival. Is there a larger purpose behind not just the tradition but also Mahabharata, beyond the entertainment value, beyond the cultural value? Is there a significance which the community, which traditionally also people hold as a more social, political perspective beyond just the cultural part? That's part one. Part two, what are the essentials of performing this festival? In a modern context, if we are to sort of take the message of Dharma to different places, in cities, in communities, in villages, what are people who, common people like us, what are parts that we hope to learn, we aspire to learn, and we can take it without diluting the essence of it to create a similar experience with the people?
One is to see the identity is very important. See, many people feel their village identity is the final identity. So there is a Salem cigarette advertisement, no? You can take the boy out of the village, but you cannot take the village out of the boy. And that is also true of many of these people living here. You see, they always think their village is within them. So you see, people, once the flag is hoisted for the festival, you cannot get out of the village till the festival is over. So they mark the border by going to the border and then worshipping Kali, Draupadi, and then that is the integrity of the village identity is the most important thing in celebrating this festival. Now that many people have gone to US, Dubai, and Arab countries, but the moment Draupadi Amman festival is announced, they all come there for and then stay in there and then experience it and then go back. See, Melatur Bhagavata Mela, you were asking about it. Melatur Bhagavata Mela is done by one family living in Dubai. They come every year, perform it, and then go back. So the identity is they feel that is their close identity of that village. See, that is one of the reasons as South Indians like us have our two initials, A.K. Ramanujan, M.S. Swaminathan. Not that I come in that line, but M.D. Muthukumaraswamy. All of us have the first initial or name of the village, right? Meenakshipuram is one part of Nagarkovil, which I carry in my name. So we all of us have these two initials, South Indian, and because that is part of our identity. Like in the Kerala, people have the names of their houses in their names. So the identity is where you, that is one thing. Second, what you can take. See, like as a theatre director, as a playwright, I learn a lot of things from this. I have written two plays based on Mahābhārata, which was performed in Kuttupatrai as a dramatic monologue. One is Aravan, the other one is Madri. Madri, she is the second wife of Pandava. Pandava, a lesser known woman character. So Madri's story I wrote a play and it was very well received. What is Madri? Madri's, huh? Huh? Madri. What happened to Madri? Went onto the pyre, yes, along with Pandu, because she thought she was responsible for Pandu's death. So I gave a new interpretation to that. Then Madri tells the story in my play to a jackfruit tree. She tells the story to it, saying what are all the things that happened to her. She thinks that she gave him the vision of the heaven by having slept with him on that day of his death. And then she joins him again to give him the heaven. That's my interpretation. Because it's a minor character, you can play around with the way you want.
Yes, good evening, sir. I'm Omera, currently in the 12th grade, studying in Sisharma. I just wanted to ask more of a personal question. Like you had mentioned many interactions you had with like the villagers, like the firewalk. I just wanted to know how did the performances or villagers respond to your interest in that tradition?
Well, in 1985, when I was going into first, I was one of the very first researchers on Bharathakoothu or the Koothu tradition. At that time, I will tell you the names of the many researchers too. Alfil Tabaital, who came at that time, 1984, 85. Anna M. Dibruven, who runs that, she was also there at that time. So many of our researchers, the research interest, because see, it was something new to do research on that. So we were, my father was obviously very much worried. What is this fellow doing? Every time, see, we did not have this kind of small digital equipment at that time. So to record, I need to carry a big tape recorder that you may not have seen. It looks like a Russian fridge, it's so big and sturdy, and it consumes 6 big batteries, everyday batteries for 1 hour. That means for a recording, I had to carry so many uh, big bag full of batteries and this. I was looked at very amusingly by those villagers. Who is this fellow? What is he doing with it? And then without sleeping, I had to change the batteries and then record. And uh, people were very amused. So was my father. What is this fellow doing with this so many batteries, so a bag full of batteries? But then soon I became accepted. In a way, they will carve out a place for me where I can sit and record peacefully. See, the Mohavine makes a very shrill sound, so nothing can be recorded properly. The, the words will be lost. I had a great guide who insisted on transcribing everything. Imagine 18 nights full of recording, transcribing, then translating, then transliterating. Imagine my guide, may his soul rest in peace in heaven. But then I had to go through this entire process of that. So the villagers understood the kind of laborious work that it involves in documenting and studying. So I had a respectable place.
ஹலோ சார், மைசெல்ஃப் அ தியேட்டர் ஆர்டிஸ்ட். நேற்று தான் ஆக்கூர் ஏழுமலை அவரோட பிறந்த நாள். அவரோட நான் ஒரு சின்ன மாடர்ன் தியேட்டரில் நடிச்சிருக்கேன், கருஞ்சுழி ஆறுமுகம் சாரோட டிரெக்ஷனில். எனக்கு எப்பயுமே ஒரு இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் இருந்துகிட்டே இருக்கும். when you say this art belongs to the region where Vanyas or majority or where they live, was this art used as a tool to bring the people to, like, bring all those people under a king to fight for the king? When you said when you mentioned about the book Draupadi cult, அது என்னமோ எனக்கு அந்த ஒரு இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் அந்த இடத்துல இருந்துகிட்டே இருக்குது. ஒரு டவுட் இருக்குது, ஒருவேளை அந்த மக்களை ஒன்று திரட்டுறதுக்காக இந்த ஆர்ட் வந்து அந்த காலத்தில் இருந்த ஒரு ப்ரொபகாண்டா டூல் இதுதான் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி எனக்கு ஒரு அது தாட் இருந்துக்கிட்டே இருக்குது. அதுக்கு ஏதாவது புக்ஸ் இருக்கா? அந்த ஏரியாவை யாராவது எக்ஸ்ப்ளோர் பண்ணியிருக்காங்களா? பட் டுடே முத்துசாமி சார் அந்த ரிச்சுவல்லேருந்து ஈ செப்பரேட்டட் ஆர்ட் அண்ட் ஈ brought it to modern art, hybridized, and it's wonderful that நாங்கள்லாம் அதை டேஸ்ட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு அவர் தான் ஒரு காரணன்றது எங்களுடைய புரிதல். ஸோ அந்த ரீஜன் பற்றி உங்களோட புரிதல் என்ன? அந்த ஒரு கேள்வியை.
1 year, see, I stand to correction that 1 year is not the only caste. The middle level caste, many of them participate and perform, and there are also vilalas, different types of vilalas and different types of colors, and all that castes are there doing, excluding the Dalit. That is the performative region. As a region, yes, there have been many studies, many studies. There are multiple engagements, but Alf Hiltebeitl's 4 volumes is the most exhaustive study, because he wrote every little detail about the villages he studied. So there is that is why I mentioned that. But of course, yes, Muthuswamy was the one who took me to see the Koothu for the first time in my life, because I was toying with the idea of, see, I had graduated in English literature and philosophy. Then I was going into pure philosophy for my PhD. Then Muthuswamy took me, because of my interest in writing plays, to see Purusai Koothu. For the first time, at that time, I saw, after my graduations, that I saw then I changed that I should do my PhD on Bharathakoothu. So Muthuswamy, as a playwright and as a person who propagated this as Tamil theatre, Koothu as Tamil theatre. It doesn't belong to this region alone, but then to entire Tamil people, Tamil speaking community, is a thing that he argued for it nearly for 30-40 years. And then army of scholars and people, Mu Ramaswamy, Tulasi Ramaswamy, Anna M. De Bruin, so many people went into Sundar Kali, so many people went into studying Koothu because of the torch carried by Muthuswamy. So we are all very grateful to him, Karunjuli Armugam, and many other people. He belongs to a Koothu family himself, Armugam, and there were so many other people, Raja Ravivarma, and so many people studied in the academy, and we now recognize it as one of our Tamil's traditional theatre. So that is what I think of that region.
We take two more questions. Last two questions, I think.
சார் வணக்கம். வட ஆற்காடு மாவட்டம், தென்னார்காடு மாவட்டங்கள் இது வந்து தொடர்ச்சியாக வந்து முஸ்லீம்களோட ஆட்சியிலே தான் இருந்துட்டு இருந்திருக்கு. ஸோ அந்த இடத்துல இப்போ வரைக்கும் அவங்க வந்துட்டு பாரத கலைகளை எப்படி உயிர்ப்போட வச்சுட்டு இருக்காங்க? ஏன் கொங்கு நாடு சார்ந்த மாவட்டங்களில் வந்துட்டு இந்த மாதிரி கலைகள் எல்லாம் வரல?
இந்த கொங்கு நாட்டிலையும் கூத்து இருக்குங்கிறத நான் சொன்னேன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். கிருஷ்ணகிரி, சேலம், கோயம்புத்தூர் மாவட்டங்களில் கூத்து நடைபெறுது. ஆனால் அந்த கூத்துக்கும் இந்த கூத்துக்கும் இடையில அவங்களுடைய காஸ்டியூம்ஸு, மேக்கப்பு, நிகழ்த்துகிற விதம் இதிலெல்லாம் நிறைய மாற்றங்கள் இருக்குது. ரெண்டாவது நான் அதை ஸ்டடி பண்ணலை, அதனால நான் அதை பற்றி பேசலை. ஆமாம், உயிர்ப்போடு தான் வச்சிட்ருக்காங்க. இதில் அங்கே வந்து முஸ்லீம்களினுடைய ஆளுகைக்கு இருந்தபோது முத்தாள ராவுத்தன் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு கேரக்டரை இப்போ திரௌபதி அம்மன் டெம்பிள்ஸில் போத்தராஜா ஸ்டாச்சு காமிச்சேன்னு இல்லையா, அதே போல் முத்தாள ராவுத்தனை என்ன பண்ணிட்டாங்க அப்படின்னா, திரௌபதி அம்மனுடைய செர்வெண்ட்டாக நிறைய திரௌபதி அம்மன் கோவில்களில் வச்சுருக்காங்க. முத்தாள ராவுத்தன் அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து ஒரு சோல்ஜர் மட்டுமல்ல, அங்கே உள்ள ஆளுகையில் இருந்த முஸ்லீம்ஸ் எல்லாருமே இந்த பெர்ஃபார்மன்ஸஸை சப்போர்ட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. என்ன காரணத்தினால அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, இந்த ஃபெஸ்டிவல் வந்து ஒரு வாரியர்ஸ், போர் வீரர்களினுடைய ஃபெஸ்டிவல் அப்படின்னு அவங்களுக்கு சொல்லப்பட்டதுனால, அவங்களுடைய ஹெரிட்டேஜை சப்போர்ட் பண்ணாலும் அவங்களுக்கு படைக்கு நாளைக்கு ஆள் கிடைப்பாங்கங்கிறதுனால முஸ்லீம்களும் அதை அரசர்களும் அதை சப்போர்ட் பண்ணாங்க. அதனால அது உயிர்ப்போட அப்படி சர்வைவ் ஆகிடுச்சு. அந்த பீரியடில் சர்வைவ் ஆன பின்னால் என்ன ஆகிடுச்சு அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, இப்போ வந்து அது வந்து அதான் சொன்னேன்னே, அது ஒரு ஐடென்டிட்டி மார்க்கராக மாறிட்டதுனால ரெண்டாவது அது இன்னும் வைப்ரண்ட்டாக நடந்துட்டு இருக்குது. நமக்கு ஃபெஸ்டிவல் இருந்தால் தானே கொண்டாட்டம்.
You had said that the storytellers would tell it into different aspects as fixed and improvisation. I wanted to ask if in the Koothu performers, if they would sort of reinterpret the Mahabharata characters, like the divine characters such as Krishna or Draupadi. You said that they would even say it in related to like movies or other stories. I was asking if that's sort of an appropriate way to tell the story or to portray these divine characters.
Well, there is no such thing as appropriate way when it comes to Koothu, because the character playing Krishna, for instance, you will see him smoking a beedi with all dressed as just in the corner, and the dogs will be walking. See, there is no distinction between, as we see, the proscenium and the audience division does not exist there. So Krishna will be flooded with all kinds of bird words, which is, and Draupadi, of course, no. Draupadi, if you tamper with her, that you will get possessed. You will go into the trance, and then you will have to ask for the forgiveness. So, except Draupadi, no character is considered sacred. And then the colloquial way of speaking is very much part of the Koothu festival. So there is nothing I can call appropriate in the way the festival is celebrated. Thank you, sir.
I think that was a fascinating lecture, and we have to thank you, sir, tirelessly. I mean, the way you have recorded all this, I think the speech itself shows your passion and involvement with the whole tradition. Of course, he is an expert on so many other fields, so we must thank him for today's event, and we hope to see you again and again, enthralling us with your wide and vast experience with the world of folklore and our own traditions. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
To bring you some more news, next week we meet again. And this is on the April 12th. We have Kalaiselvan Madhusudan. And he will talk about Sindhu Saraswati research and Tamil culture. Following which, on April 19th, we have Jayashree Venkatesan talking to us about wetlands. And on 26th April, for those who are watching the match today, well, this will be a treat for them especially. This is a book on the CSK, the Chennai Super Kings, and this is the second book by Bharat Raman. And of course, then we go on to May. I'll not take more of your time. So, hope to see you here again and again, and we encourage us in holding such events for all of you. Thank you very much.